I hope you're all well. Thank you all for joining us this morning, especially 7C, our live audience, but also everyone that is watching on the live stream as well. Today is the final of the very first Regent International School Secondary Debate Contest. And before we begin, I'd just like a big round of applause for Charvatha, Noor, Kapil, Minaka, Sana, and Sarah for making it to the final. They've done an amazing job getting here. There were over 20 participants that went through the qualification stages, the semi-finals this week, and obviously the final right now. So today's motion, the debate, is going to be all about online learning. And the motion that the two teams will be debating about is the motion that online learning should replace traditional school classrooms. We're going to have a proposition team arguing for the motion and an opposition team arguing against, the other way around, proposition, opposition. We're going to start, Charvatha, you're the proposition. Charvatha is going to start, give a 3-minute speech saying why she agrees with the motion, why she thinks online learning should replace traditional school classrooms before we move on to the other team. So big round of applause for Charvatha before she makes her way in. It's on there. There's one on there. You got it? The clip? Oh. Off you go.
Hi, I'm Charvatha, and I'll be representing the proposition today. I'll be explaining why I believe that online learning should replace traditional classrooms. Online education allows both the student and the teacher to set different learning paces. This can allow students with more diverse learning paces to accommodate learning to a more distinctive mode instead of the student having to adjust themselves to either a faster or slower learning speed. They can either build upon their learning or take it step by step. Imagine a student my age attending university and having a degree by the age of 16. This is what students have achieved by embracing online learning and renouncing the traditional education system. Personalized education can also give students the chance to build self-advocacy skills. It encourages them to speak up about what interests them. It also allows them to be equal partners in their learning experience. Students can also learn important time management skills and can give more focus and time to their hobbies and extracurricular activities. Online learning enables you to study from anywhere in the world. This means that there's no commute from one place to another, no rigid schedules to follow to make it to school on time or to attend your lessons on time. This also saves money and is more sustainable for the environment as there'd be lower amounts of carbon emissions. An average parent spends 10 to 50 hours per month ferrying their child to and from their school and social activities. Online learning also solves the fourth sustainable development goal. inclusive and equitable quality education, and lifelong learning opportunities for all. If governments provided rural communities with a reliable source of internet, projectors, and laptops, the education crisis could see a notable change to it. This would be much cheaper for the government than building schools and maintaining them by paying for teachers. COVID-19 has wiped out 20 years of educational gains, but the changed education system could also fuel the next 20 years of teaching. Online learning could also help students find their voice and can help them think for themselves. They would not have to worry about distractions such as judgment, bullies, and opinions. They can grow in an environment where they can be themselves and become comfortable with their characteristics. Just today morning, Abu Dhabi University has put out an announcement announcing their new smart learning online system. They believe that the ADU Smart program will widen the MENA region center's education opportunities and will also allow working individuals to widen their knowledge and explore new opportunities.
Okay, thank you very much. You just leave the microphone and clip up there. Whoever comes can take it off. So well done, Charlotte. A big round of applause. We're now going to move on to our first opposition speaker, which will be Minaka opposing the motion. Minaka, if you just make sure you clip on your tie, that'd be great. And when you're ready, you have 3 minutes.
Hi, my name is Minaka and I'm the opening speaker for the opposing side in the debate, should online learning be banned? While some people may believe there are advantages for online learning, there are many more disadvantages. A disadvantage that's often overlooked is that students participating in online learning need to have a usable device and know how to use computers well. That's just a fact. Even though kids our age are nearly always staring at computer screens, there's still students out there that are not prepared for technology-rich learning. Without this ability, online learning becomes completely useless. Many studies show that the internet can be useful for learning, but these studies also point out that the students participating need to have a high level of computer literacy. In the same manner, schools also tend to overlook the fact that many people around the world don't have access to a quality and stable Wi-Fi connection. If students were to disconnect from their classes due to their lack of Wi-Fi, they would be excluded from the lessons taught by their teachers. And if you miss lessons, what's the point of going to school in the first place? The main goal of school is to get a good education, and by having these uncontrollable barriers placed for some unlucky students, you limit them from reaching their full potential. Furthermore, another clear disadvantage of learning is the lack of equipment for practical assignments. Online learning is forced to depend on simulations and online programs that don't give students the full experience. You can't do science experiments with chemicals at home because you don't have the equipment or the correct safety precautions. In the same way, it's very hard for the average student to find the correct materials to craft and build objects for subjects like art and DT. Need to use a 3D printer to print your concept building? Well, you can't because you don't have one at home. Need an empty room to express your creative thoughts through spray paint? Well, you can't do that either without making a big mess. All of these facts help us understand that online learning is troublesome and hard to use. Face-to-face learning is almost always better, as students can interact with their teachers without the worry of disconnecting or having a misunderstanding. A teacher online may not know when you need help on a specific topic, but in a face-to-face environment, they can tell when you're struggling and when you're not, and so they can assign your tasks accordingly. Thank you.
Okay, so now what happens in the debate process is we have a short break. Both teams are going to consider the arguments from the other side, and we're going to hear from the rebuttal speakers. We're now going to move to the rebuttal section. So each team will have 3 minutes to argue against what we've already heard from the other side. So we're going to start with the proposition. And while he's getting up, have a big round of applause for Noor as he gets ready. You got the clip on?
Yep.
Right, Noor, when you're ready, I will start the timer.
Okay, so I'm Noor, and I'm speaking for the proposition on why online learning should be banned, even though it should not be banned. Online learning is a very great method of learning. And I like how, and like some of your points are, how people need to be proficient with computers. That's a skill you learn from doing online learning. Suppose we never learned about computers, okay? How would we be able to get a good job in the future when computers are all that's necessary nowadays? So that's why online learning is good, because it can teach you how to use computers well. Then there's also talking about Wi-Fi, right? Quality Wi-Fi is expensive, but what's cheaper? Building an entire school, which takes multiple millions of dirhams if you want to supply with great equipment, 3D printers, laser cutters, or just supply students with Wi-Fi's. And also about being excluded from the call. Yeah, that it's much cheaper to just get better Wi-Fi than to go on school, because you have to pay for the commute, which is not good because commutes are expensive. That would already outlevel the costs. And then your lack of equipment. If you have a lack of equipment, many schools and universities have a program set up where they have like craft centers and libraries where you can go there, get the material you need during like holidays or stuff. So suppose you need to 3D print your project. You can just quickly go to the craft center, ask them if they can 3D print your project, and the school will supply the necessary model. And also your point about teachers not being able to see your face. What's better, wearing a mask physically in school where people don't see your expression at all, only your eye movements, or having your mask off on an online meeting where people can hear you and look at your face? You need to turn your camera on. And that already gets fixed by Wi-Fi. If your Wi-Fi is that bad, I'm honestly shocked, because all Wi-Fi can run a webcam. And also, name one time where the school actually provided all the equipment you need for school. You need to pay for your pens, iPads, laptops, right? So the school has the supplies, but it's just better to supply them yourself. Like, for example, suppose I have a pen here. Did the school supply this? No. I bought it for myself to use. So it doesn't make sense that you expect the school to supply you with all of the equipment you need. So I rest my case.
Okay, very well done, Noor. Noor, if you just leave the microphone there and the clip, that's absolutely fine. So well done, Noor. We're now going to move on to the opposition and their rebuttal speaker, who is Sarah. So big round of applause for Sarah.
Hello, I'm Sarah, and I'm the rebuttal speaker for the opposition team, arguing that online learning should not replace classrooms. Firstly, you mentioned that when students are doing online learning, they have a lot more flexibility in their schedule. They can learn at their own pace. While this is true, there are many negative effects of that as well. For example, Jennifer Whale Malachris, who is a psychologist at the University of Albany, found that individuals who grow up with predictable daily routines are less likely to have time management or attention problems as adults. Following a daily routine and timetable also makes us more responsible and diligent students, which will certainly help in our future careers. Being in charge of your own schedule can also be increasingly difficult for younger students. They can find it hard to sit in front of the screen without getting distracted or losing attention. This is important because the younger years of people's lives are especially crucial to development, and online learning would have a negative effect on their social interaction. Another point you mentioned was how online learning is a lot more cost-effective as it saves a lot of money. This is definitely true, and it can be a financial burden on many people. But when you are paying for in-person school, you're also paying for facilities such as science labs, libraries, and music rooms, as well as machines such as 3D printers and laser cutters. There is a higher price, but it comes with a higher level of education and experience as you have access to more opportunities. Another major point is that online learning helps increase individuality and you can be your own person. This is true for some students, but for some students, learning at home cannot be a comfortable experience. One student quoted, "It is hard to focus because I have no space in my room to put a table to study. And in the living room, there is so much noise going on. My only solution is to do my work and study at night when my family goes to bed." This can make learning difficult and very inconvenient. This is true also for students with family issues and problems at home. They will not feel safe or secure at home, both of which are essential to quality education. In a survey conducted of 147 teenagers, 28% reported conflict in their home, and 27% reported having problems with their family. A complete switch to online learning could negatively impact the lives of these students. Learning environments at home could also negatively impact students without access to devices, as Minaka mentioned. It's actually a lot more common than most people think. The National Education Association recently reported that based on pre-pandemic census data, 1/4 of households with students from 5 to 17 lacked either high-speed Wi-Fi or internet. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Sarah. Excellent work, as has everyone else done. What we're going to do now, we're going to have one more short break before we hear from our summary speakers. So we're going to hear from Kapil from the proposition and Sana from the opposition, who are going to close up the argument. So just a quick chat between the teams, 1 minute or so before we make a start with those summary speakers. Off we go. Focus now. So we're coming now towards the end of the debate, and our two summary speakers, they have 2 minutes each to summarize their position and really close the arguments for both sides. So we're going to start with Kapil, who's going to be closing off for the proposition. So big round of applause for Kapil.
Hello, my name is Kapil and I'm representing the proposition and will be summarizing my team's points for why we believe online learning should and will replace physical classrooms. For starters, online learning allows students to learn at their own pace. It is essential for a better learning mindset and is proven to induce learning. Online learning also eliminates the need for transportation and allows learners from all over the world to join interactive lessons. Since online school doesn't require transportation, this reduces the amount of time that parents spend annually for pickup and drop off. This once again reduces emissions and also saves time. This is crucial for the development of the way the school's transportation system functions. Since students oversee their own learning, there is no rigid schedule and the timetable works like university, in which students learn responsibility and learn to take accountability for their choices and decisions. The idea of self-accountability should ensure that students are giving their all. Students that do otherwise have to reap what they sow, with the repercussions affecting only them, which trains them for the future. During COVID times, a lot of new software was developed for specifically the cause of online education. This enabled students who couldn't physically attend school to do so online instead. It also has a very positive impact on the environment, which also fulfills the role of the fourth SDG and has potential to change the way that students receive education. Online also helps students to outgrow their bullies and not be affected by unnecessary slander and stress, since they can work in their own space, enabling them to work in a more positive space. And there's no need to be afraid of change either, as there are programs like this that have already been implemented, such as in Abu Dhabi University. It is also unnecessary to question the lack of resources and materials, as there are already many ways in which we can receive these indispensable items from specific school programs, for example. To conclude, online learning brings many opportunities for education and could change the entire school system for the better. Thank you.
And now, last but not least, we're going to move on to Sana, who will be closing off for the opposition. Round of applause.
Hi, my name is Sana and I'm the summary speaker for the opposition team. Before I summarize our points from this debate, I would like to mention that from the time a baby is born, their learning ability develops from physical interaction. Their home acts as a classroom and their parents as their teachers. Children pick each element like behavior, language, and social skills by physically observing their parents. Now, to conclude our debate, I would like to summarize some of the key points from my team. Our first point highlighted the technical troubles teachers and students face, like unstable Wi-Fi, no computer literacy, and lack of usable devices. Sadly, only 40% of the world has access to the internet, which means the other 60%, which includes students, will not be able to participate in these online lessons. We also discussed how schools provide us with the right resources and platforms to carry out DT work, science experiments, and PE lessons. In our second point, we shared the importance of face-to-face interactions, sense of community, and social intelligence. We mentioned how the lack of focus, space, and right resources leads to poor education. In fact, WHO stated that regular physical activity, increasing physical education, and active classrooms not only protect school children's health, but also improve their academic achievement. Our last point is that classroom learning develops skills like career building, conflict resolution, and team spirit. It teaches us to understand and respect different cultures and their beliefs. As you can see, classroom learning is vital for the growth of students, as it teaches them to adapt in all situations. Finally, with this, I would like to conclude that classroom learning must continue. Thank you for your time.
Okay, so that concludes the debate. Thank you very much for all the speakers, and Sana especially there, very, very well done. Going to be a couple of minutes now while I confer with our special guest judge, Miss Alonso, over there. 2 minutes or so while we just gather our thoughts before the winners are revealed. But like I say, whoever wins, well done to everyone that's taken part today. So 2 minutes or so before I announce the winners.
So this side actually do agree with that, but they argue against it. The other side, that's a skill in itself, understanding both sides of the hand.
I think
So
still.
what I think, what we can push now, okay, not thinking about who you know in terms of schools, but in terms of their argument. If you have to vote, okay, for either the proposition or for this side, okay, which if you vote based on what the what you believe should be in schools.
Yeah, it could have changed.
Okay, so we're going to do a vote for the proposition, and then we do a vote on the other side, and we do undecided. Okay. So raise your hand if you are in favour of online learning. Raise your hand if you're in favour of online learning. 1, 2 for online learning, or maybe is that 3, Olivia? Maybe 3 for online learning. Okay, based on the arguments, okay? And raise your hand if you're not in favour of online learning. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, hands down. Any undecided? No. Okay, so the majority feel that not online learning. And that was based on the arguments, yeah? Or
Not sure if there's any,
well, exactly. That's it. A bit slightly okay. Great. Anyway, great job, guys. Well done once again. Now, give me a round of applause. You're a great audience as well.
Okay, so like Mr. King said, very, very big well done to both teams. I'd also just like to take this opportunity to thank everyone that supported this competition. So the marketing team and Miss Alonso as well, Mr. King as well, who's been here this week throughout the debates and really made these a good event and something that we can really build on over the next few weeks and months at the school. So big round of applause for them first before we announce the winners. Okay, so yeah, like Mr. King said, they only had since yesterday afternoon to prepare for these debates. So considering that, and I know that I've set up, channels within the teams, and they were working last night, 8, 9 o'clock, making sure that they were prepared for today. So it's a really, really good effort, making sure that they were prepared for today. So both teams, like I said, did very, very well. However, there does have to be one winner, and myself and Miss Alonso do agree with the audience that the opposition slightly did win. So big round of applause for the opposition. However, it was very, very close. And I thought, both teams had excellent arguments and there were actual improvements from the start of the week to the end of the week, which was really good to see and hope to see that even more. So even though they were the runners up, big round of applause for the proposition as well for doing such an amazing job. So, like I said, well done to both teams, but I think there'll be a prize giving ceremony later on for our opposition team who did a tremendous job. So thank you everyone for coming, and hopefully we'll do lots of more of these in the future. Bye-bye, everyone. Thank you.